Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You see my little tiny Christmas tree in the back? My big head blocks it, but yeah. So we're on here to talk about no one other than Ursula herself. I'm not going to be mentioning full names to certain politics because YouTube gets really funny and can do some funny things. So Ursula Medusa, as some of you refer to her as. Sometimes I do too. So Ursula, she is pushing for a massive $800 billion to rearm Europe, signaling a long-term shift into a defense/war economy, and even hinting at looser debt rules to fund it. She's back long-term support for wars. One would be Ukraine, including using frozen Russian assets. This is all public knowledge, and this is why everyone is up in their panties because, well, they don't want to support her defense war economy, especially the UK. But even the civilians and citizens that live in France don't support this either, but their government does. So what do you do when your government does and you're just stuck there? Like a little ant looking for a place to hide, and all the rocks have been turned. So you can't hide, you just get trampled on, or you keep moving and just deal with it. That's pretty much how the governments are fucking us today, giving us no choice but to move forward. Can't look right or left because we get caught. Yeah, aftermath of everything, yeah. So what I'm reading to you guys is statistics and intuition. This is not factual. Something could happen to Ursula tomorrow and she's gone. Just like Starmer. She has a lot of power over him though. I do believe. She has a lot of power over many politicians in Europe, as I feel. Can't prove it though. She's like the queen bee. Queen of Swords fits her perfectly. I believe Ursula will stay in power between at least 2026 throughout 2029. However, her positions may weaken a little bit, but it's not going to stop her from what she is trying to bring about, which is the acceleration of war economy, drafting, preparing, putting funds out there, wanting money from different countries to support this. And I was getting something with 2034. That's a way out. So I see this woman sticking around from 2026, possibly into 2030s, allegedly, if nothing happens to her, right? The EU military could accelerate under her command. I think it will. Looking at the statistics and using my own intuition, I think it will. She's going to survive the political revolts, but barely. I think that the male elite that I was telling you guys about over in Europe, this man I was saying, connected to the royal, but yet he's connected to some military, he's connected to a bank, he's connected to courts, something with courts. This guy's going to fall, and she feels connected to him. And so this could make her fall too, but she's not completely out. She's not doused. She's still in. But it might hurt her reputation in some way. So throughout the years, she may lose power, but she's still upholding this campaign. It is her mission. Her 2028 through 2034 mega budget becomes a war. Not a military one either, even though I think that is to come, but that's later. This is symbolic, right? It becomes a 6-year fight between countries, is what I have here, over money, defense spending, climate programs, and I'm going to tell you something. These climate programs, that she is supporting are not healthy ones. Ugh. Migration funding. Yeah, okay. I'll get back to that in a few minutes, but that's just a few things to name. Migration erupts. That's going to happen. Migration is going to erupt into a multi-state rebellion because of this. She will face health issues of some kind, while a scandal hits her reputation. But she seems to survive all this, right? She seems to be able to revolt, come out of it. Her final destiny for Europe is to turn Europe into a fortified political empire. You can say that's good or bad, depending on where you live in Europe, right? Now, I mentioned there'd be fights between countries, right? So I want to go over that. Germany will be Ursula's main problem. Germany will be Ursula's main problem because they don't want more debt. They don't want it. Nor do they want massive defense financing through Brussels. So some people think that Germany would sit back and let this ride. They're actually really against it. So Germany will be number one enemy of her budget. The Netherlands right now are kind of not saying much, but once all this ticks off, they're going to resist and push back against her planning, her budgeting. They're not going to want to be part of it. Sweden will fight. And they don't want to be part of the EU level borrowing, climate money, or migration rules. Sweden is not down with the climate. They know something. They know that whatever she is putting out there for this climate control is not healthy for the people, for the environment. Sweden already knows this. They know something. They may come out with it. Either way, it might put a dent in her plans with climate control, but it has nothing to do with her empire she's building. Okay. Denmark will push Ursula publicly. So they're going to come out publicly and speak, but they're almost weak. She almost has them 50-50 there. But they may talk about it. Then we have Austria and the Netherlands will speak out the loudest. So those two countries are going to come out the loudest, while Germany is like, we ain't having it. They will fight her tooth and nail. Who is going to join the resistance is a good question. And who's going to join it quietly? Poland fights on migration, but not as much on defense, so they will side with her. Italy wants more money. This is what I'm looking at with the statistics. It's not a psychic reading. They want more money, less restrictions. So they may protest, but they will accept deals only if they gain benefits. So she will most likely give them something in return for going along with this agenda. The top country that's in favor of her mega budget is no one other than France. They are 100% with Ursula. France. And then Poland. Now, of course, when we talk about Spain and Portugal, when I look at their charts, economical charts, so they support her. It's to get more programs and funding, like Italy. It's about the same between those three countries, okay. The budget will be explosive due to Ursula spending money on, pay attention, this is the best estimate I could come up with, rearming Europe, border security, energy transition, climate projects, which are going to be unhealthy for your people. I'm just letting you know. Migration management. Those 5 things are going to cost a lot of money. And she needs support for it. Here we go, UK. The United Kingdom is affected even though it's not inside the EU anymore, right? We talked about this yesterday or this afternoon when I put out that video. But the UK is going to be affected from the outside. So even though you're not inside supporting it, you're still going to have issues from the outside. The UK gets dragged, but indirectly on an economical level, not politically. And when Ursula pushes this massive 2028, 2034, and it could be a little bit before or after, but that's the dates I'm feeling, and just an estimate, really. When she pushes this budget, the United Kingdom will feel the ripple effect in money, borders, and trade. That is how it affects you guys. Like, you're not part of it, but it affects you indirectly in those three areas that I mentioned. The UK is not in the room. So you guys are not in the room fighting with Germany and France, because I'm going to tell you what. The relations between Germany and France are going to change after 2027 when it comes to this, because Germany ain't down with it. France is all about it. So the UK is standing outside watching all this happen. Like, you're standing outside the house while the house is on fire. But the smoke blows right at you guys. So you're not technically being burnt in the house, but you're getting secondhand smoke. And that's the demonstration I used prior. So the UK's biggest impact will be migration routes that will shift, I do believe. Ursula's migration pact pushes asylum flows. This is where it's going to hurt the UK the most. Oh my God, immigration is going to be... It won't matter who's... It's not going to matter who's in office or who's your prime minister. Excuse me, I should say that. Ursula's migration pact pushes asylum flows to Italy, Greece, Spain, and again, the UK's biggest impact will be migration routes. And when these countries rebel or overcrowd, the routes will go north, which means UK will see a wave of cross-channel migration spikes. Let me read that to you again. And when these countries rebel, Italy, Greece, Spain, maybe a few others I don't have down, or they overcrowd, the routes will head more north, which means the United Kingdom will see a wave of cross-channel migration spikes. I'm not trying to give you bad news, and this could always change. Doesn't mean I'm right, but it is what it is. And I've been talking about this migration for a while. And France and the United Kingdom will fight over patrols, border funding, boat crossings, offshore processing, asylum numbers. And the midpoint for this, I do believe, is going to start in 2026 with the migration. And throughout 2029 is the midpoint, if I'm looking at the chart correctly. So France is going to be going head to head with several countries in Europe. They want to be head of NATO. They want to be in charge of everything. They want to run that shit over there. And as long as they pull the strings and Ursula gets what she wants, she may let that happen. So even though the United Kingdom is out of the EU, NATO still binds UK to military actions and Ursula's Rearm Europe. That should be the title of this video, Rearm Europe. Will increase defense spending while the UK will be pressured to spend more because Europe is spending more. Okay? So even though you don't want to, you may have to. Pressure, domino effect, ripple effect. Pressure from France, NATO, Poland. I wrote down US leader. And it really depends on who's in office. And I feel like this is after Trump. He'll be finishing up in 2028, right? So I don't know. But I feel like a U.S. leader, Poland and France, is going to put pressure on the U.K. And it'll be more France and Poland. But the U.S. kind of backs it in some way. We have to wait and see who we have in power here in the United States. the United Kingdom will pull away. So during this transition, all this bad stuff, it sounds so negative. It is. But this is, you're already woke and you already are being shaken up through your parliament. And you're seeing your leaders be exposed of who they really are. This is part of the shift. So it's starting. Now you're getting into the nitty-gritty of the foundation. Think of the tower moment on a tarot card. People are falling out of the windows. The foundation from the bottom up is cracking. This has to happen in order to rebuild again. To rebuild the cabinets, the government, all of it. It may take several years, but this is going to happen. The United States is currently going under it. We're currently under this as well. So the UK will pull away at this point. Like later on, you're going to start backing away from it. It will not be a succession necessarily from itself, but rather a long-term shift toward a fully sovereign power with its rules, with your own rules. And I spoke on that. That's going to happen. I do believe that's going to happen. I don't have a timeline, but it's happening in the next couple of years. And the new person or persons that take over they're going to put their foot down with immigration, with migration. And I don't know why, but I keep feeling, I have the sense that William will be King William at that point in time. And King William is going to also help with this. He's going to have some say-so. He's going to push for stricter rules. King William. He's Prince William now, but I think within a year and a half, that's going to change. Somebody asked me about their leader, who's going to replace Starmer. I don't know. I think this is what I feel, and I don't know why. We can put out names, we can guess, but this is where my intuition is going with I'm just thinking, is it possible it could be a conservative with reform energy? Now, remember I told you guys the Tory party, or maybe it was the Conservative Party, I can't remember, was being shaken up, being torn down and going to rebuild again. New people, new younger people were going to be, it almost felt like Freemasons to me, but I don't know, but it was going to exist again under a different name. Possibly. New people. So I feel like whoever takes Starmer's place, so you guys, if you lose Starmer, you might get somebody in there temporary. But I'm talking about the permanent prime minister that takes over, that would win elections and is in there. He feels to be conservative with reform energy. It's possible. Or maybe he is in the reform. I don't know. But for some reason, conservative is just coming to me now. He behaves like a reformer. Maybe that's what it is. I was getting someone in their mid-30s or even 40s. So whoever comes in to replace him permanently. I'm not talking about the temporary fill-in that you're going to have, probably. I'm talking about the new actual prime minister would be late 30s into late 40s, maybe early 50s. And I don't know why I have down conservative with reform energy. I don't know why. Could be completely off on that because it's going to change. I think Ursula is going to try to keep Keir Starmer in power. She needs him there right now because right now she is planning. And she doesn't want no one to disrupt her planning. So he may, even though he should not be there, he may end up getting a pass because she is pushing. She has power over there. She works for some dark forces, in my opinion. Elites, I would say more Freemason. Well, maybe even something even darker than that. I don't like reptilians. Do you guys? Anyways, so it's all alleged. It's not factual. This is solely my opinion. It's what I think could happen. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. So if you guys are new to my channel, hit the like button, share, hype the videos. Thank you to my new subscribers and my old subscribers. I appreciate your support, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for listening.